Hello, and today we'll be playing NeveN. We're going to start chapter 7 for Tenoch. I haven't slept months and I'm completely frazzled, which is why I hope the person knocking on my door has a very good reason for doing so. My anger disappears, however, when I see a cat standing outside my room with a pained look on his face. Hey, what's wrong? Did you hear about Simi? I know, yeah. I went into Rowan and Gilead last night. He comes into my room to sit on the bed, and I follow him close behind. I didn't expect to see him so shaken by the news. I don't understand. I know she didn't like me, but I didn't think it was that bad that she actually attacked a delegation. Do you really think it's her? Told you? No, not for a second. I know her a little, and she'd never do anything like that. None of it would get Frostfang into trouble. But then, why was her? I've even heard she confessed to it. I take a moment to reflect on it, while recalling the conversation I had with Tenoch on the subject. I think it's to help the kings. This way, they don't have to make a difficult choice. Simi is forcing their hand. It simplifies the situation for everyone, but not for her. Would she really be willing to sacrifice herself just to help someone? If there's one thing I'm starting to understand is that some people will do anything to defend their ideas, and Simi is someone particularly motivated to do just that. The bird lets out alongside, and I can't help questioning him further, hoping that this will help him with his anxiety. Why does it worry you so much? I don't think you two were particularly close. We're not, no. It's just that Rowan's been really nice to me since I got here. And I know that something like this is likely to affect him particularly. In view of what I saw last night, that's a pretty mild way to put it. No doubt, but don't forget he's not on his own. He's got people to support and help him here too. I'm absolutely certain that we'll soon get to the bottom of this and prove that she's innocent. And when it happens, I sincerely pity whoever tried to pin it on her. All I can hope for is a happy ending. A heavy silence settles between us and a cat lowers his gaze to the ground. There's not much else to say, really, despite my attempt to reassure him. I can't do more than hold out a bit of hope. Well, perhaps I could try to distract the falcon. On a decidedly happier subject, I have a suggestion that might interest you. A getaway just for the two of us. I don't know if I'm really in the mood. Not necessarily right now. It's just something ahead in the back of my mind. It could be nice to take a breather in the middle of everything else. No doubt it would do us good. Well, go ahead. It won't hurt me to hear about it, at least. We went out yesterday with Tenoch again. I thought you decided to try to appear more aloof towards strangers after a conversation with Astrid. I considered it, of course, and then I told myself I still had the right to have a romantic life. So you knew it was going to be a problem for your reputation and chose to ignore it? I hate that you're able to find the flaws in my logic so easily. Let's face it, it's not that complicated. Anyway, as I was saying, we went to the big flute, and I thought you might like it too. I can't immediately blushes, and for once I'm puzzled as to why he's reacted this way. You do whatever you want, but I don't think this kind of establishment is really to my taste. What are you talking about? Their scene is great. You'd love to play there. A scene? The problem suddenly springs to mind. I have to restrain myself from smacking my forehead. I can't. It's a tavern that specializes in discovering and promoting new bars, although it also accepts established professionals. Oh, but I thought for the name. Do you honestly think I was going to take you to a brothel and ask you to do what they do on stage? It's called a big flute. Even I can understand. It's just an obvious innuendo. Granted they should change their name, but still, what kind of pervert do you take me for? got to admit that with Tenoch you're quite open about your practices, but Tesso you prefer to join him in his bed rather than talk to me about the contest. Talk to me after the contest. And I'm sorry you know it. I already apologize. I'm not angry, I'm just saying you're both pretty similar in that respect. I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially when you add in what I know now about Astrid. I'm about to retort again before I realize he's not entirely wrong. Sorry, you're right. I do have a reputation, and let's be honest, it's probably deserved. Yes, but yes, to get back to the original subject, I think I might like it, the idea of an evening out to relax a bit, Perfect, and then we can also indulge in some singing and playing without all the pressure we have here at the court. It sounds most pleasant when you put it like that. A smile finally forms on the bird's face. It was more difficult than I expected. After a brief moment of silence, he sighs again, looking pensively at the ceiling. I can't? What do you think about? Well, our life is a peculiar one, don't you think? I can hardly disagree with you there. Do you think that at some point we'll just be able to be bored without having to think about everything else? Without having to worry about the people around us? For a brief moment I also think about the avatars. I can't, but you have no idea of all the things that threaten us in addition to the rest of what you know. I'm afraid we lost that right today we became royal bards. Politics and data seem to be part of everyday life. And it's too late to change our minds. Oh, if you really want to, I'm sure we can always try to run away and live together in the woods, but I'm not sure that would suit you. After all, the last time you tried it, you nearly turned into an icicle. Hey, he bursts out laughing, and I do the same as he nudges me lightly. We chat for a while longer about various things, but mostly about castle life. Nothing important, nothing serious. It's just a moment between the two of us to forget a little about everything that's going on outside. He eventually tells me, however, that he has to leave because he has an appointment with someone. And strangely enough, despite my numerous attempts to ask him, he refuses to tell me with whom or why. Is there something you're not telling me, Bertie? I want you to know that I'm not going to let this slide. I'll find out your little secret. After a relatively hearty meal, I'm sincerely considering the option of a nap before returning to Tenoch. I know he told me to let him think it over after what he found out yesterday, but nothing really. I just wanted to see him. My plans regarding a nap are quickly put aside, however. Regina approaches me in one of the corridors. Eric. You're not? Follow me. Without giving me time to reply, the panther strides through the corridors while I follow, watching him with a most puzzled expression. What's going to hit me now? We eventually arrive at the training room, which is empty at this hour. It's only when the doors close behind me that the panther looks at me again. I heard about the attack yesterday. Is everything alright? Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Your lessons have paid off, at least long enough for Vakar to rescue me. I'm glad to hear it. However, it should never have happened, so I must apologize. It's not your fault. It's not like you can keep an eye on all the thieves of Frostfang anyway. No, but I'm in charge of my troops, and they should never have left you alone. Then Tenoch asked that we be left alone. He asked that you should be unable to see us. The cat wasn't the only one looking out for us then. Far from it, but my boys were distracted by something, which explains what happened to you. Distracted? What could have distracted the guards enough? What could have distracted the guards assigned to keep an eye on me personally? That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Did you ever notice anything strange when you were in town? No odd movements, no sense of being followed, nothing at all. Leaving aside yesterday's events, no, why? There was someone or something yesterday on the rooftops who was following you and did not personally. Something? Your guards didn't get a chance to see exactly what, It was moving extremely fast from saddle to saddle, and when they tried to capture it, it managed to elude them without too much difficulty. Believe me, I've worked with most of these guys. Escaping from them is no mean feat. Sid, do you think it could be? Interrupt myself mid-sentence, realizing that Gilon doesn't necessarily know, but he finishes it on his own. An avatar, possibly. My expression possibly displays my surprise, given that the Panther is watching me dubiously. What? Do you think the Kings wouldn't let the captain of their guard in on this kind of information? I guess I hadn't really thought about it. Some things don't change, it seems. Hey, on a more serious note, we don't know exactly what it was, so let's not panic over nothing. But let's stay vigilant. And maybe limit your city outings for now. I'm afraid your safety is more important than your entertainment. I don't simply go out for my entertainment, as you say. It's an integral part of my job too. But you're probably right. Besides, after the festival, I've probably earned a... Someone knocks on the door, preventing me from finishing my sentence. Gilon seems as surprised as I am, or at least as surprised as his mask allows him to be. Come in. A servant enters the room, bowing his head modestly as he speaks. Lord Gilon, Lord Eric, I apologize for the inconvenience. You are forgiven. What is the matter? My lords and majesties, Lust and Aeon, request you both in the council room immediately. I exchanged a brief glance with Gilon. No council meeting was scheduled for today. Do we know why? I'm afraid I do not have that information. Never mind, thank you. We'll get to it immediately. The servant bows again before leaving the room, closing the door behind him. Gilon, do you have any idea what's going on? No, but it must be fairly serious. What makes you say that? I was invited. I'm not a member of the council. The guard doesn't usually attend. If my presence is requested, it means that a major security problem has been encountered. In terms of tightens my chest, where is it now? Does it have anything to do with what happened yesterday? After a final exchange of worried glances, we set off. When we arrive, the council chamber is even more packed than usual. In addition to the other council members along, we get out and the Kings, another unusual figure awaits me. Tenoch, what are you doing here? I'd like to know that too. I'm not usually invited to your little meetings. Which doesn't prevent you from finding out what's happening here anyway. The prince enters shortly after us, slightly out of breath. He's obviously one all the way here. I can't help it if people enjoy talking to me. By the way, none of us know why we are here. Any ideas? No, I just got the message a few moments ago. Take your seats. The king settles down, motioning for the others to do the same, and we quickly take our usual chairs with Gilon and Tenoch at the end of the table. Sorry to bring you here on such short notice. What's going on? This is all highly unusual. There's been an attack in the city. The building has been heavily damaged, and all its residents slaughtered. A heavy silence falls over the room as I try to find the right words. An attack in the heart of the capital? Who was attacking a nation right under the noses of its kings? Not even McCad could afford such an outrage. Which building? All eyes turned to Tenoch. Which building was attacked? If this were purely a Faustian matter, I wouldn't be here, so it involves either Kazal or me personally. There's Zoma, someone or something specifically targeted this place and the people who live there. There are no survivors. There's Zoma, but all of them are natives of Kazal, hence your presence at this council. So it could be an attack against this nation, and not ours. Even so, we can't sit idly by while such an action is being carried out on our doorstep. We can't react in the heat of the moment either. There are already tensions among the city's nobility as a result of Prince Maybjorn's actions, and such an event could force them to act in an ill-advised manner. I did what had to be done. I don't doubt it for a moment, my prince, but such an accident cannot be without consequences. Tenoch bangs on the table just hard enough to be noticed. This isn't a time for bickering. Several of my fellow citizens have been killed. What exactly do we know? It's Aeon who speaks again alongside. Unfortunately, for the moment, not much. The attack took place early in the morning, before sunrise. Most citizens were still asleep. Whatever happened, it was quick and brutal. It was all over before the guard had time to get there. The culprits had already disappeared. And they didn't leave anything behind. The Exoma wasn't as heavily guarded as the castle, but there was security. Nothing. Either the guards were surprised that they were no match for the attackers. Are we absolutely sure this isn't just a robbery gone wrong? No offense, Ambassador, but you and your people do nothing to conceal your wealth. This can lead to temptations that the less fortunate may succumb to. I do not appreciate what you're implying, Vo. I'm sure Lord Vo means no harm. He simply suggested other hypotheses. Precisely, is merely an idea to consider. And a valid one at that. Do we know if anything has been stolen? Not according to the initial reports, but part of the building has collapsed, and it may take some time to make a full inventory of what's left. Our priority should be to ensure the safety of the residents. Tenoch, do you know if there are any other places frequented by Khazarians that could be potential targets? A few stores maybe, but not a lot. You know my people have trouble adapting to your reasons. Couldn't it just be a coincidence that the attack was on the Khazarian business, Possibly, but as Tenoch just pointed out, there are very few buildings of that kind here. The probability of this being a coincidence is quite low. For a moment, it's better to play it safe anyway. We need to increase the guard's presence in the vicinity of the places the ambassador will point out to us over the next few days. And spread our surveillance even further. We have enough men for that, Lord Edwin. I appreciate your concern, but we are more than sufficient. But we are more than sufficient for this kind of task. You'll also have to handle this investigation, Gillard. It will send me behind bars so you lose the eyes and ears of the city. I can assure you that we can solve this mystery, Lord Vo. We've had to work without Lady Simi here before, and it's never been a problem. One of my best soldiers is already on the scene. I've never had any complaints about him. Did you see Rowan? Indeed, my lord. Isn't that an added risk? After all, he's married to Simi's granddaughter and have personally chosen to train each of my lieutenants, and they have been approved by the royalty. Lord Edwin, they have our full confidence in their situation. I intend to visit the site to inspect the premises anyway. All eyes turn to Tenoch. Why? If the attack is indeed targeting Khazal, it's possible that the owners have left a message or a sign that only I can interpret. Once more, I'm familiar with the idea. If something has been moved or disturbed in a way that isn't consistent with a mere robbery, I'll be able to spot it quicker than your men. Gillard, I don't mind. Do you have our authorization, Lord Tenoch? In that case, I'd like to go with him. It's absolutely out of the question. It's far too dangerous for the bearer of the... I know, Lord Vo, that's my brand that we've mainly talked about during our previous councils. But I also like to remind you that I'm here as a bard. I'm not just an artist. Part of my job is also to witness these kinds of events and potentially make a song out of them, just to keep a record of it for the future. Not to mention that I have no desire to let Tenoch find this kind of thing alone. Not to mention that I have no desire to let Tenoch face this kind of thing alone. He may seem calm in a moment, but I'm sure it's coming as a shock to him. There will be several members of the guard on site, and he'll also be accompanied by the ambassador, who more than amply demonstrated his ability to defend himself during the festival. I doubt he'll waste months. Not to mention that his presence on the streets could also serve to appease the population he can, so that the members of our corps are not afraid to go out. Should we be? This is an attack on a great magnitude within our walls. I refuse to let fear menace my actions, especially when we lack so much information. We will act with caution, but without panic. Eric, you are accompanied Tenoch. You'll be there to compile what's going on, not to participate directly in the investigation, so avoid getting in the guard's way. Understood, my king. We'll write a letter to the airport to explain the situation, even prepare financial compensation. Tenoch, may I ask you to also send a message to Kazal to assure them that we have the situation under control and that this is, for now, just an isolated matter. I doubt an additional delegation would be a good idea right now. On that point, I can only agree. I can't help but a surprised glance towards the lizard. While I can understand that the kings don't wish to see outsiders handling our problems, I find it hard to understand why he wouldn't want to see his people. Thank you. Well, in that case, Gilad will send you to reorganize the guards. As for the rest of you, this council is postponed until we know more about the situation. As everyone rises to their pause, Mayborn approaches me with a sullen look on his face and furrowed brows. Eric, can you stay a moment? I guess we're outside. I have to fill Gilad in on the other potential target locations. He offers me a brief smile before exiting, leaving me alone with the prince, who closes the door before turning to me. This is a bad idea. You have to be more specific. I have several bad ideas a day. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to lock myself up in this castle every time something happens. That's not what I'm asking. I just want you to be careful. I am. You heard the kings. There will be plenty of people there to protect me. That's not what I meant. I'm not talking about your physical safety. I'm referring to your decision making and the influence it can have. Didn't you learn anything from your discussion with Astrid? What? How do you know about that? Did you force her to organize this whole thing? No, I didn't force her to do anything. She's already planning to talk to you. I just pushed her in the right direction. And why? Because I need allies, Eric. Allies whose position is as strong as possible. What I did in the arena was right and necessary. On this point, I will not change my mind. I want the appreciation of the people and the fear of the nobles, who finally realized that I wouldn't simply let myself be pushed around. But I've also made enemies. In the near future, I'll be king. And like Aeon and Lusk, I won't be able to rely on the power of my brand to establish my authority. I must rely solely on my political abilities and my allies, and for that, I need to start working on it now. I need to get people I can trust in key positions, and I have to make sure they're in a suitable situation to help me. You want to make me a pawn on your chessboard, basically. What? I'm willing to help you. I really think you'll make a good king, but it would be nice if it were because I decided to do it, Mayborn, not because you're manipulating me into it. It's not that simple, Eric. I'm sure it isn't. I'm not stupid. I begin to understand how it all works. All I'm asking is that you trust me a little, and I also like you to be honest with me. Tenoch does more than just teach you how to use your plan, it seems. He's also making sure I know how to survive here. Yes, but I'm on your side, Mayborn, so let me help you in my own way. I throw him a smile, trying to be as reassuring as possible. My strength is to please people first and foremost. I know how to attract a crowd, but I need to do it my way. Not to mention that I was honest. I'm a bard, and that doesn't just mean I sing. I have other responsibilities. It's high time I took care of them too. The bear sighs, running a hand over his face. I'm just asking you to be cautious. I think carefully about what you're doing. As always, without giving the bear time to respond, I step out of the council room. This isn't exactly how I expected to start the day. The Axoma, I was there just a few weeks ago. Who on earth would want to pick on a place where you simply go to eat? I suspect there are probably items to steal, but killing everyone, even if they were caught, I doubt a bunch of thieves would have taken. I doubt a bunch of thieves would take that kind of risk. I hope it's an isolated event, an accident, or a bunch of lunatics. If it's anything else, we've only just established an alliance with Gazal that's already in danger. I really picked the best time to come here. We've been in peace for over 15 years, and all I have to do is set paw in the capital, then everything goes to shit. Tenoch is already waiting for me near the castle's front door, a more serious look than usual on his face. Already here? All I had to do was point out a few buildings on a map. It hardly takes any time at all. How did it go with the prince? What did he want with you? He wanted to make sure I'd be careful, nothing more. This gives me a doubtful look, to which I simply smile in response. I have neither the desire nor the need to give him a summary of this discussion. That's not him, Sarigo. The walk is strangely quiet, even a little too much for my taste. Tenoch's anxiety isn't getting any better either. Hey, how are you doing? Perfectly. Tenoch, listen, Eric. The situation was already complicated, and this attack isn't making things any better. That's not what I'm talking about. I thought so. He takes a deep breath before speaking again, an even grimmer look on his face. I've known Nikali and his family for 2 years. I've tried to help them from time to time, to give them a little exposure. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're my friends, but you like them. Just because they weren't particularly close doesn't mean you don't have the right to grieve. I may have the right, but I certainly don't have the time. He lowers his voice, making sure only I can hear him. Too many things are happening at once, and they're demanding my full attention, not to mention the fact that I'm convinced some of these events are linked. I just can't figure out how. How will they be? Come on, Eric. A raid on a building linked to Gazal, the day after Simi was in prison, who herself is accused of ambushing another foreign group. It all sounds too big to be a mere coincidence. Someone keeps pulling the strings from behind it all. I just don't know who or why. Could it be simply to stir up tension between our nations? From what I understand, some nobles wouldn't necessarily be against a war to change their situation. Possibly, but I doubt it. If attacking Macadian diplomats was a real risk what happened at the Azoma, my father would never declare war for so little. Not to mention the fact that no lizards were involved, and anyone wishing to set in motion such a large-scale plan would know that this is the only way to get the Empire to react. I can't help but look surprised when I hear him say that. I thought Macad was the only kingdom to consider some of its inhabitants superior to others. That's not what I mean. Kazal was created by the dragons. Its foundation, its heart, its very essence is to keep their memory alive and to recall their greatness. And we do it best through the existence of our skills. That's not to say we're superior or treated in any privileged way. Anyone can hold a role of importance in the empire, regardless of their species, but hurting a lizard has more consequences than hurting someone else. To wound a lizard is to wound a dragon, and to wound a dragon is to wound Kazal. My disapproving stare seems to have an effect on Tenoch, who pinches himself between the eyes. I'm not asking you to approve of it, it's just the way it works, that's it. It's strange, it's almost as if I'm talking to someone who will have the power to change that in the relatively near future. If we really want to, we can talk about social status and Kazal's internal politics, but not today. Let's try to stick to the issues that affect us directly for now. The rest of the journey is spent in silence, intense silence, following this exchange. This isn't exactly what I had in mind when I said I'd go with him, but maybe it's best to give him a break. When we arrived in front of the Axoma, I stopped for a moment, stunned by the extent of the disaster. The trees that decorated the entrance had been torn down, thrown to the ground as if they were mere twigs. The immense mosaic was largely destroyed, the bricks forming scattered across the road. But above all, deep gashes had been carved into the stone walls. They seemed to be indentations, no gigantic claw marks to such an extent that I don't know if any animal with claws of this size. What happened here? That's what I'd like to know too, to be honest. But never, he looked exhausted. I didn't expect to see you two here. We were sent by the council to help you. I know the place quite well. I used to frequent it fairly regularly. Oh, sorry about that. What do we know about what happened? Warren lets out a sigh before straightening up, crossing his arms behind his back. I'm not even sure he did it consciously. It looks like he's getting ready to turn to a briefing. Around the 5th hour, neighbors heard shouting and sounds of a struggle. One of them came to an outpost to warn the guard. By the time we got there, the place was in the condition and the assailants had disappeared. What we believed to be 8 bodies were found inside. What you believe? The victims were brutally torn to pieces and partially devoured. The police of Mariani left with the remains of about 20 minutes ago. We hope they will be able to confirm the exact number of victims. That's probably correct. And I call it his family and the employees who were sleeping on site. The change in Tenoch's voice's office, deeper, slower, more composed. It's sadness. I'd like to see the interior. I might find something you missed. I advise against it, my lord. The bodies have certainly been removed, but we haven't yet had time to clean it. It'll take more than a little blood to trouble my sleep. Woman lets out a deep sigh. Very little. I can't stop you coming in anyway. Without waiting any longer, Tenoch enters what's left of the exoma. As for me, I watch him walk away with a worried expression, which doesn't go unnoticed by the guard. Is everything alright? I'm afraid it's affected him a lot more, and he's let it on. On that point, I agree with you. What about you? Don't take this the wrong way, but you look like shit. Oh, thanks. You know how much I love your little compliments. I'm a serious roller. I just didn't expect to have to work so early in the morning, so I hadn't slept a wink when I received Gallant's order. Is it because of Simi? We overheard you talking last night. It's like nothing can remain private in this castle. Rowan runs a hand over his face. I got work ahead of me, so do what you have to do. And if you need anything, ask for someone to find me. He walks away slowly, his stride lacking that zest he usually has. This is clearly a fantastic day for everyone. Fuck me. With a sigh, I briefly grab the base of my ears before pulling on them. The pain allows me to collect myself. Let's focus, Eric. You're here for your job and to support Tenoch. You won't be able to do that if you leave him here alone. After one last look at the ravaged facade, I enter the exoma. At first glance, the interior is in the same state. The tables are overturned, broken everywhere on the floor and walls, the same scratches as outside. One of the walls has been shattered, as if something had gone right through it. It's in the center of the building that things start to change. A dark red ocean appears before me, blood covering the entire floor. The ladder is carved in, as if something has struck the same spot several times before us. Well, something or maybe someone. And standing there, facing the traces of this massacre, Tenoch. Hey, Eric, you sit way outside. It's not the first time I've seen blood. I'll survive. I better stop forgetting you're braver than you look. Is it because of my size? I thought we were past that. My attempt at humor draws a brief smile from him, which quickly disappears as he turns his attention back to the ground in front of him. You don't have to do this, you know? Of course I have to. It's my duty. What kind of leader would I be if I wanted to have an easy life, to have it pleasant existence without sorrow? I suppose you're right. I still don't like to see you like that. He remained staring into the blood pool for a moment longer before turning around quickly enough for his tail to snap in the air. Anyway, we're here. Might as well try our best to figure out what happened. Oh, okay. What do we know? Do you really want to go on with this? I'm not doing it to annoy you. It helps me think. Contrary to what you seem to think, I don't have all the answers. In that case, someone or something attacked Azoma early this morning. Whatever it was fast and brutal. From the look of the markings, the only thing I could see being able to do it would be an unusually large bear, but I really don't know how they could have gotten in here without anyone noticing. I doubt it's that even a bear couldn't leave claw marks that big. I have my suspicions about the creature that could have inflicted this kind of damage, and I don't like what its presence implies. Can you elaborate? Before I can, before I received my brand, my father sent me on a diplomatic mission to Kadir, nothing essential and simple trade agreement. The Wathir, the highest nobility of Makad. The highest nobility of Makad. They are recognizable by their three anels. They are the potential heirs of the Makadian throne. And this right here is the second level of nobility of Makad. The nobles with two anels. Makad is one of them. They are the ones in charge of capturing, trading, and selling slaves. These crickets out here are annoying. He decided to take me to see an arena fight to impress me, I suppose. Whatever you can call it a fight, it consisted mostly of groups of slaves killing each other or trying to survive against a starving animal. However, he assured me of a unique sight, a fight such as one sees only a few times a year. I was young and stupid. I thought I was going to see something worth watching, but I was wrong. It turns out that the priests of Kadir had found a way to use the brands of Moriani to not only enhance the body of one animal, but to mix it with another. They know how to create hybrids, creatures bigger and more powerful than anything I've ever seen, and they unleash them in the area on slaves. Like I told you, these aren't fights, they're massacres, executions for the amusement of spectators who bet on how long it will take the beast to kill them all. And you think it could be one of these creatures that was brought here? That would explain the violence of what happened here, the damage to the floor and walls, and the fact that this place was specifically targeted without anyone else being hurt. So the beast has a master who directs it, and that master comes from Makad. It's likely he's even directly from Kadir. Only the priests of the capital know how to merge two species. Wait, that's ridiculous. Why would Makad want to attack a tavern, even if it belongs to the Khazal? I'm not sure what's in it for them. I don't think that Zoma was their intended target. He points to a corner of the building with a shake of his head. The animal that attacked the place was pretty clearly one of monk. The animal that attacked the place has pretty clearly one of monk there. Every surface of the floor or wall is covered in gases. I can even see some of the ceiling. The tables and chairs have simply been ripped to shreds. What the? And only then do I remember. This is where we ate. This was our table. I think it's a pretty big coincidence, don't you? You think they're after us? That was weeks ago. Then my conversation with Gillard comes to mind. Wait, in the morning Gillard explained to me that our bodyguards were distracted by something yesterday. Distracted? Is that why it took so long for someone to react? That's not the most important thing. There was something on the roofs, something that was following us, but they didn't manage to catch it. Do you think it could have been the arena beast? And when it chased and when it was chased off our direct trail, it would have followed our trail or our scent and come here. I take the time to observe the claw marks in the stone. If I wasn't protected, the creature responsible for this could have killed me, but my guardians chased it away. And it came here to hurt innocent people. It's my fault. If I hadn't come here, no. You're not responsible for what other people do. Besides, we don't know if that's what happened. It's just a possibility. But it fits, doesn't it? Almost. Almost. As usual, you're forgetting one element. There's already an attack of this kind. Oh, you mean the one against the Mercadian ambassadors? Precisely, which begs the question, why would Mercad attack its own? To cover their tracks? It might also explain why they didn't react after what happened. If their aim was indeed to make it look like they had nothing to do with it, they would have reacted. The fact that they haven't asked for any compensation only makes the situation more suspicious. I have no other idea. If it really is a arena beast, Mercad is bound to be involved given what you've told me, but it doesn't fit with the rest. Indeed, we're missing some information that I need to talk to the one person who can give it to us. Simi, I thought you didn't consider her guilty. I still don't, but she's led the investigation so far, and I know her well enough to suspect she's kept information to herself, things she doesn't want to reveal yet. But it's forbidden to visit her. I doubt that will change, even with what's going on here. I'd rather not do this officially anyway. Fortunately, I know someone who can immobilize people without the slightest consequence. He's giving me a knowing look. You want me to know? Or you want me to? Oh, no. That's absolutely out of the question. I'm pretty sure that's treason, Tenoch. I know, but think about it. Some members of the council wanted to lock you up in the castle from the moment your brand appeared. What do you think will happen now that it's possible you'll be talking about an attacker who possesses such a creature? I can't avoid giving this kind of information. This is my kingdom, Tenoch. I can't lie to my kings. I'm not asking you to lie to them, just to dilute the information. That's what the kingdom requires me to do all the time with my father, after all. Once we know more and have reliable, concrete information, we'll tell them everything there is to tell. Why take the risk of limiting your freedom and maybe even mine on information that's nothing more than a mere hypothesis at this point? By talking with Simi, we may be able to confirm some of our ideas, and once we know more, we'll talk to the kings. I really don't like this idea. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but I would like you to think about it. And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, a heat wave suddenly hits me, and thin flames appear at the top of Tenoch's horns, barely visible in the light. I'd also like to get my hands on this beast and his master. Tenoch, between that and yesterday's attack, someone's trying to get in my way. Someone who hurts my people. Someone for whom I'll make sure they always remember me. Tenoch, the burning air is softening my throat, and I can't stop gasping. Oh my, all gone. Eric, I'm sorry. I lost control for a second, and it's okay. I'll be all right. I pushed him away, more out of instinct than anything else, as the temperature drops. You should really learn to hold back. You know that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, when you're angry, you can't just incinerate the room because something pisses you off. He's about to reply when the guard enters, a curious look on his face. Is everything all right, my lords? We heard some noise that there's been a heat wave. Nothing to worry about. I simply wanted to check something with my brain. Very well, Lord Ambassador. But you're just in time. We were about to leave. I'm afraid there's no point in staying here any longer. Really? You haven't discovered anything new or useful, that is, unless you've seen something I haven't? No, nothing interesting. Damn it. Thanks for trying, my lord. After saluting the guard, we leave to return to the castle. Tenoch and I barely exchanged a few words on the way, polite banalities that don't really mean anything. When we return, the ambassador invites me to join him in his room. I think you agree to attempt to talk to Simi. I don't really have a choice now, do I? I lied to a guard. If I were to tell them anything else after that, I will only cause more problems, both for you and for me. So yes, I'll help you get to Simi and infiltrate the royal dungeon. May I ask what made you change your mind? I'm still convinced it's a bad idea. In that case, why? Why? Because I trust you, Tenoch. Certainly not because I gain anything from it, but you're convinced it's the right thing to do, so I'm following it. Thank you. But let me be clear, if Simi can confirm the slightest of our theories, teach us the smallest useful detail, the first thing we do when we get out is go to Gilon and explain everything we know. Sure, I wasn't planning to do it any other way. He sits on his bed looking thoughtful while I do the same on his sofa, so I hope you have a plan. And plan? You're not going to turn up and expect me to freeze everyone, are you? I'd like to remind you that I've got some pretty specific limitations. So I hope you know how to break into a dungeon. I must be honest, it's not exactly an activity I'm familiar with. It'll probably be easier than you think. Simi is locked up in the cells intended for the nobility, so she's within the castle walls. Therefore, there are fewer guards posted around her. The cell itself is partially made of custite, making her unable to use her brain. Besides, even if she managed to get out, she still had to escape the castle. So they're limiting her security. Edwin wasn't entirely wrong during the council. The guard doesn't have an infinite number of operatives, and with what's going on, and despite Gilon's insistence, they're dealing with too many problems at once. Also, let's not forget one last detail. The King's Mayborn, as well as Gilon, are probably the same opinion as us regarding Simi's guilt. They're not worried about her escaping, given that she's here willingly. Precisely, that is why security around her is minimal. A few guards at most. That doesn't solve all the problems. Even if there were only one guard, I've got a weight limit. I know. Listen, I'm going to pull some strings and try to find out some other information that might be useful to us. Meet me in the yard after supper. I should have something clearer by then. Pulling strings? But do you really think my years of charming everyone only serve to lure people to my bed? I did wonder about that, yes. Relationships, contacts, and influence, my dear. That's where the real power lies. Now get out of here. I've got work to do. You tend to be naturally distracting. It's my job. He offers me a smile as he waves me off. And I don't like what I see. The playful side of him missing, and the glare in his eyes is certainly not joy. Tenoch, are you sure you're not doing everything, the secrecy, the prison, infiltration, because you want to handle the beast yourself? Without answering me right away, the lizard pushes me toward the exit, and I don't have the heart to resist. See you in the evening, Eric. After leaving the room, I watched the door close behind me with an empty mind. But eventually I find the strength to pull myself together and make my way back down the castle corridors. I need to settle down to think. My pause guide me to what seems to have become my lair during these situations. The secluded bench in the gardens. I throw myself at it with a sigh before tilting my head back to look at the trees above me. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten into Tenoch's gang. He's clearly not acting like his usual self. This whole thing must have affected him a lot more than he lets on. Should I stop everything right now, and should I tell Gilad or Rowan that I realized afterwards that the table where we ate was the target of the attack? That's probably what I should do, but that would mean betraying Tenoch and his trust in me. I can't do that. I can't risk losing him so quickly. I just wish things were simpler. You're hard to find for someone so loud. Oh, great. I'm not in the mood, Sven. I can see that. You look like crap. What do you want from me? First of all, I enjoyed the pathetic sell you get, the pathetic sell you put it on. Secondly, I heard you were attacked yesterday. I wanted to see if you were alright. Seriously? You worried about me now? Why would you give a fuck? You know, as much as I take tremendous pleasure in seeing your world crumble around you, I have no desire to see you dead, Eric. I'm not as monstrous as you seem to think. Oh, excuse me. You haven't really given me any reason to think otherwise. The reverse is true. Am I to conclude that you prefer me dead? No. That's really. But if I must be absolutely honest, it was also Astrid who asked me to see how you were. She really seems keen on your. But if I must be absolutely honest, it was also Astrid who asked me to see how you were. She seems really keen on her little project concerning the two of us. Astrid, since when do you act as a courier for nobles? Since the noble in question is someone I'm fond of and who also seems to appreciate me for my true worth. You're not the only one who's seductive. You and Astrid? Is it really that surprising? You know what? I'd rather not know. Oh, I see. When it comes to Lord Eric, he's allowed to flaunt his relationship everywhere. But when it comes to me, I'm expected to be discreet. I'm not flaunting anything. Sven's gaze locks with mine. Well, I'm not hiding it either. Why do you care? It turns out that some of us appreciate secrecy, tact, good manners. 3 qualities you and your ambassador seem to lack. Don't insult Tenoch. Tenoch isn't like that. Oh, really? I saw his fight at the festival. You expect me to believe that this wasn't all about getting noticed? You know as well as I do that if he just wanted to win, he could have done it in a flash despite the captain's win. But no, he didn't just want to win. He wanted to beat the captain of his turf, prove he's the best, and put on a show for all to remember. And that's what led to his defeat. Does it really remind you of anyone? It's not like that. It's not that simple. He needs his family. He needs to show them what he's capable of. I don't know how complicated his situation is at home, but I do know that he can't just be good at what he does. He has to be the best. That's what drives him to take risks. Trying to infiltrate the royal dungeon. We all have our reasons for taking action, but that doesn't justify said actions. For a brief moment, his expression changes, giving way to what almost looks like sympathy or pity. I just want to say, look, just be careful, that's all. Don't get yourself killed. I'll try. Oh, and Sven, what? Good luck with Astrid. He doesn't answer me, but simply walks away to leave me alone again. This day has been really strange from start to finish, and I doubt it'll get any better now Sven's being nice to me. After insulting Tenoch and me, but still, I wonder if he isn't right. I wonder if he isn't right on some points. Tenoch clearly wants to prove he's the best, and maybe that's influencing his decision to deal with the beast himself. Maybe he's not acting out of anger or a desire to avenge his own. Maybe even without realizing it, he's hoping to get the glory for defeating the creature. I spend the rest of the afternoon hesitating about what to do next. Several times I almost get up to go and explain everything to Gilliant or Mabion, and yet I find myself in the courtyard facing Tenoch, waiting in a secluded corner for him to explain what he plans to do. Still up for it? I guess so. The good news is that it's going to be easier than I thought. Simmons is so occupant of the dungeon, so the security is reduced to absolute minimum. 3 guards only, one at the entrance, the other 2 as backup, probably in the guard room. Probably? Impossible to know exactly, but they don't really have any reason to have rotations as a risk, but I calculated one. So you still only have to freeze the 1 guard to entrance. the one guarding the entrance. And if I don't, we'll call the whole thing off. I promise. Alright, let's go. You seem particularly enthusiastic. Well, you know I don't like the idea. But you're doing it for me. I won't forget it. It's a complete silence as we cross the courtyard to an area of the castle I haven't really visited yet, the dungeons. And if there's one place I wish I had never seen, it's this one. Tenoch guides me to a corridor with a single door guarded, indeed by a single African. For now, we're observing from a distance, and I'm especially focused on the guard. He's a white fox, not very big, probably within my weight limit if I had to guess. That should do it. Get ready to go. Keeping my voice as low as possible, I quickly sing the first verse of the first song that pops into my head. I quickly feel the warmth of my brand coursing through me, offering a strange sense of comfort. And I focus on the circle around the guard's torso, forcing it to slow down until it comes to a complete stop. After a quick nod in Tenoch's direction, we emerge from the corner of the building, concealing ourselves. We then hurry past the guard, open the door behind him to enter the prison. Inside the list beckons me to keep quiet, quickly pointing to a door under which I see a light pass. A guard will, no doubt. As quickly as possible, we move past the door into the corridor leading to the cells. It's only once we're away from the entrance that I set down my brand, letting the guard move again. I'm immediately struck by the side effect of my powers, offering me a visit of the fox politely but firmly refusing us entry. He seems nice. The guard, never mind, it's not important. Tenoch shrugs before moving forward again. We pass several empty cells, simple holes dug in the floor, separated from the corridor by long metal bars, as well as a window at the far end that looks out on a thin trickle of light coming from the surface. When we get to Simi's cell, it's not hard to see the difference. It has no windows, and the floors and walls of the prison are made of bricks between which I can see metal glittering. It is probably custard. I was expecting visitors, but you two weren't really on my list. Simi is sitting on her bed, her hands resting on her knees as she looks at us in polite surprise. I almost feel as if I've interrupted her in the middle of her tea. I'm surprised you managed to get permission. Our brief silence probably explains better than words what really happened. Oh boys, you're playing a serious game. Dangerous but necessary. We need information. For a traitor? Can we do without this little game? We know you didn't attack the diplomats, you just protected the kings. Glad to see the court isn't populated by fools. What do you want to know? There was another attack this morning. Outside the walls? No, at the Azoma. Tenoch, I'm sorry. He smiles at her with a touch of sadness in his eyes before shaking his head to compose himself. I think that both attacks were carried out by the same person. Were the victims also attacked by animals? We think it was really just one animal, an arena beast. So it's the same thing that's involved in the deaths of the Macadians? That makes the most sense to me. The other possibility is that someone managed to hide in our forest in an army of giant bears or wolves. I'm inclined to doubt it, but we're right. So we're right. That means McCann is definitely involved in this, doesn't it? They're the only ones producing these monsters. As far as we know, yes. Of course, all this information has already been passed on to the royal family, which you're smart enough to guess. If you're taking the risk of coming to see me, then there must be something more to it, and you don't want it to get out. You're not going to stay to look. That's why we're here, after all. The Exoma wasn't talking about chance. One part of the building was particularly attacked. the one where we set out to eat. Gillan also told me that something followed us from the rooftops last night before they chased it away. I think we're the target of the beast and its master, whether it's one of us specifically or both of us, which explains the secrecy. I understand you don't want to be locked up for your own safety, boys, but this is probably the best approach. Not as long as I can do otherwise. I suspected as much, but it may at least help us to better understand what's going on. What do you mean? Up to that point, I had three likely suspects as to who was responsible for the attack on the Devilmans. A force outside our nations, someone independent, who somehow found a way to breed away the beast, unlikely but possible. McCare, who organized the staging for a reason that eludes us. Our agents sent by McCare were not winning the beast for one reason or another, but they chose to turn against their masters once they got here. I suppose the third is your preference. Yes, but now I think I can even make another claim. I think it's an avatar. What? How do you know they exist? My job is to inform the kings. How can I do that if the kings themselves don't inform me of what's happening? How do you come to this conclusion? If I'm right, someone has suddenly chosen to abandon and betray their nation, or one of the most powerful creatures in this world to specifically hunt you. Sounds like an avatar who's learned the rules and is looking to increase their powers. No, it doesn't add up. The attack on the Mercadian diplomats took place where no one knew that avatars existed. We didn't know they existed. What? Tess was very clear about one of his objectives he wants to sow, something to distract him. He could very well have chosen to spice things up by explaining the situation earlier to some avatars and to others. Especially if one of those avatars happened to be right next to Phosphane with access to an arena beast. Tenoch, if an avatar is involved, we can't keep it to ourselves. It's too dangerous. I agree. We have to warn them as quickly as possible. You should also think about a scream interrupts Simi echoing through the corridors before stopping as suddenly as it began. What's going on? Noises echo through the corridor again, sounds of alarm, followed by the sharp, resounding sound of twisting metal. Tenoch then dashes towards the entrance, and I can see the orange light of his brand illuminating the corridor. Go with him. I'm safe being locked in here. After a brief nod to the Fennec, I bolt in pursuit of my companion. A long roar is in her deep guttural, something I've never heard before. It takes all my effort not to stop, not to wait here for it to pass. But I can't. I force myself to keep moving. I have to find Tenoch, and at last I reach the entrance to the dungeon, where at least what's left of it. The door has been smashed inwards, torn from its hinges. The entrance itself is now nothing but a gaping hole, a puddle of blood covering the floor. Tenoch stands in front, his brand activated, flames emanating from him. Tenoch, what's going on? It's a beast. It's here. To be continued. Hello everyone. We hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits such as bills 2 weeks in advance, but also unique stories about the characters in NeveN. If you like the VN, please also feel free to rate us on Itch.io. It will help us a lot. Once again, a big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. That was chapter 7 for Tenoch. So we get to see Tenoch and be very serious. I mean, up until now we got to see him as this, calm and just calm and sociable person, and even maybe a little perverted, maybe, but certainly a charming and guy who is very sociable, and who's very knowledgeable about politics. And now we get to see him being very angry and serious, like like no nonsense Tenoch now, with these monsters are killing his citizens. Because you remember back, I forgot what chapter it was, but if you go back to previous videos for Tenoch, his root, both him and Eric was that restaurant that serves Khazarian food. If you remember that, that's the place that got destroyed in the waiter or the person that took the order. He was one of the people that got killed. So that's very sad. And I don't think Makad, as bad as Makad is, I don't think they were going this far to really attack Phosphate by saying a monster. I guess it must have been a rogue avatar from Makad who rode against the leaders and decided to just go to business for themselves and attack Phosphate. But I think that this avatar must be looking for Eric and Tenoch, because they got very powerful powers. They're I forgot what the term is called now. But anyway, they're very powerful, and with Tenoch being able to create flames, and Eric being able to turn things to ice and turn back time. I mean, when you put Eric and Tenoch together, they're very powerful. That's a brand. Both of them got very powerful brands. The sign of one of the gods engraved on your body allows us to use magic or manipulate an element. The bigger it is, the more powerful you are. Everyone has one. Mine was long overdue, though. How about Eric? So, they're brand together. Both Tenoch and Eric, they're very powerful. And it seems like the gods want to show, just want to be entertained by people killing each other. So I don't think these gods are benevolent at all. They just no more different than the people of this world, really. And with Tenoch not really have a brand, or I don't know. I don't know if he doesn't have a brand, or maybe he does have a brand, but it's very weak. But either way, it's either one of them. I mean, he's very weak when it comes to having a brand. So he has to prove himself even harder, to be a good and capable king. And that's putting up a lot of pressure on him, especially when he had that conversation with Eric. So, I mean, his fathers have powerful brands, especially King Aeon. He probably has the most powerful brand in the entire continent. So he's certainly not like his fathers when it comes to his powers, his brand. He has to prove himself way harder than his fathers had to. And it seems like NeveN has decided to at least calm down a little bit when it comes to his beef with Eric. I mean, so he certainly does not want Eric to die. So he's not that horrible. He's not that ruthless. I mean, he doesn't. Yeah, he has something against Eric, their music career and all that stuff in the past, but he certainly doesn't. But he certainly his hatred doesn't go that far, where he wants Eric killed. He very much wants him to be alive and well. So I wouldn't say Sven is nice. Is being nice to Eric, but it shows that he's not entirely bad. I mean, he doesn't want to see ill will for Eric physically. I mean, he wants to see him face ill will when it comes to music or career, but like as far as his physical safety and health, he very much doesn't want to see that happen to Eric. So that's at least good to see from Sven. And so that was chapter 7 for Tenoch. The story is heating up now. So next time for chapter 8, we'll see what goes on, not just with Tenoch, but all the other characters as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.